I'm pretty sure Caitlin Dever is going to be seeing some acknowledgement come awards season. She's already killing it on screen as Abby. Her performance is awesome and I love it. The show opens again, episode 2, with we see Abby and we see the clip from one of the trailers of her walking through the Salt Lake City facility just after Joel was there. And we finally learn the history behind her and exactly why she wants to get rid of Joel. If you've played the games, you already knew. Spoiler alert, yes, at the end of season 1, the doctor that Joel callously shot to save Ellie was indeed Abby's dad. You can understand where she's coming from. She wants revenge and she deserves it. So once again, we open up with Abby and her story. I was also surprised to see that this is where they decided to have the big moment of wondering about. I've been wondering about forever. If you have also seen the show and played the game, then yes, you also know the other huge quote-unquote twist. Joel dies. I knew this was coming, but I would love to hear the reactions from people who didn't play the games and had no idea this was happening. Are probably thinking, well, they pulled a Game of Thrones on us. Pedro was actually in Game of Thrones. That's how he kind of became famous, and he died terribly on that show. His head was squished by that giant dude, the Mountain, whatever he's called. Unfortunately, he expires, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. Abby does have her revenge. I actually thought that they were going to drag it out and not happen by the second episode. I even thought that maybe they would drag it out to the very end of the season, maybe even a cliffhanger. Before the season even started, I thought that maybe they would kind of do it like the games, where the first half of the game is Ellie's story, the second half is Abby's story, and then the end is them, coming together in their final face-off. I'm wondering how they're going to play that out. Are they going to make that ultimate showdown not happen until the end of season 3? Season 2 is going to be pretty short, just 7 episodes. Kind of wish they would just go with 8. I don't know why they're just going with 7. I think that's just an odd number to stop. Why not just do 8? 8's a nice even number. I don't like odd numbers. I don't know why. I just have a weird thing about odd numbers, and I don't see why they couldn't have just had 8 episodes. Does that mean next season's going to be 7 as well? I have a very weird thing about odd numbers. I just don't like them. But then a continuation of more of the changes that were made from the game for the story that made sense, as in the big change they made from season 1 with the cordyceps infection and how essentially all the infected are connected through one giant hive mind. And as soon as I saw the pipes with the vines, the cordyceps inside of it, great. So the vines are connecting all the way in a tube leading into Jackson. So that's pretty clear that that was gonna be how they get the horde of clickers to come at Jackson. And they come at Jackson hard. These clickers are aggressive as hell, and they are just a big horde that comes at you relentlessly. And in the games, you were never attacked by this many clickers at once. And they didn't have the hive mind mentality the fact that they would, as a herd, completely change direction and head in another direction. I mean, clickers themselves on their own are relatively easy to take care of as long as they don't hear you. You can just sneak up on them and take them out. A lot of them can't even see once they get to the advanced stage where their head turns into a big old stinky mushroom. They can't see anymore, and they just depend on sound, which is why they click, as in called the clickers. But then you got the earlier stages ones. I don't even know if you'd call them a clicker because they still can see. And even some shots of the show, you could see people who had like no makeup on or tiny, very little makeup. So it was almost like they were just got infected. But they also added this new element to the infected of where they would somehow hide underneath the dead as a way to stay warm. Though I don't think that's just what they think it is. But it's another thing that they added, which I think shows almost too much intelligence. I mean, last episode, the first episode, they had that quote-unquote smart clicker that was able to follow Ellie around and set traps. But now you have them all kind of hiding underneath the dead in a giant horde. How exactly are they hiding anyways? There's a scene where Abby, she slides down the side of a mountain and lands on top of them. Suddenly, they just come up from under the ground. So are they under them in the snow? Does it only work if they're in the snow? Like, if there was no snow and all the dead were lying on the ground, would the alive ones be buried underneath the ground? They did do that in season 1, where they had a truck fall through the floor and then a whole bunch came out of the ground. So they've added this whole underground thing, but I'm still trying to figure out how that actually works. Like, where do they do down there? Is it like a giant ant farm underground where they have all these tunnels? I don't know. I feel like they're not even going to like touch on that, but someone like me is wondering, all right, what are they doing down there? Are they lying underneath there? Are they hibernating? Are they like True Blood where the vampires have to be buried? It's an interesting addition that I don't know if it's even necessary. We can already see that these clickers are a lot smarter, but also way more aggressive. This is definitely one of the most exciting episodes. There was a really awesome action sequence near the end where the horde of clickers came at Jackson. When they crack open the pipe, you can see that there's kind of regular sticks bundled in there, and then cordyceps are coming through. So these cordyceps are telling the clickers to attack. I'm a bit lost on the connection between whatever it is that's telling them, all right, attack this area. I guess it's just a hive mind of survival. The hive mind is all about just surviving and doing whatever it is they can to survive. So they somehow know to bury themselves underground and then to attack from the underground and then attack in a horde. But now we're back out in the snow, and Joel and Dina are already gone on patrol. Ellie and Jesse are going out on patrol. We see Abby, and she wants to go out and essentially go on lookout. And they're very close to Jackson. They can see Jackson from where they are right now. They're staying inside of like a ski lodge, magical ski lodge that I guess no one ever knew was there. Now suddenly they do. There's apparently a ski lodge just outside of Jackson that no one's ever seen for 5 years. Guess I'm being a bit of a sticker, but at the same time, all right, if they've lived there for 5 years, they've been patrolling this whole time, how could they ever miss this giant ski lodge that's just sitting there on the side of a mountain you can actually see all of Jackson from? So that's a little weird. To me, that seems like a place for people to stay or a good lookout. That could be a good watchtower area for Jackson. So all the changes they make always make sense to me, though I'm still a little on the fence about the clickers and how they're all just being kind of controlled, as if like there needs to be one central thing controlling them in a way, like a queen bee. But this episode was interesting in the fact that we didn't really get to see a lot of Joel and Dina. They were together on the patrol, but Dina only has like 10 lines barely, and then she gets knocked out. She's barely in the episode, and then even Joel is kind of barely in it until the very end, the inevitable ending of the episode. I truly thought that they were going to do later on. Here we are now with only 5 episodes left, and now it's Ellie's time for revenge. Abby got her revenge. So the next episode is going to be brutal when we see Tommy reacting. I'm not looking forward to that. I was not looking forward to this moment. I knew it was coming since the day the show was announced, because I already had full confidence based on the fact that Craig Mazin was involved. This show is going to be awesome, and it's probably going to have a season 2, maybe a season 3. So I was pretty confident that yeah, this was going to happen, and it happened. I still wasn't ready for it. My heart was pounding. The scene was happening. Oh my god, they are going to do it. They're not waiting. They're doing it now. My heart was kind of racing. I knew it was coming. I was actually surprised at how not as brutal as I thought it would be. In the games, it's a lot more brutal. And even how long they went on with it, it was only Abby that was hitting him. Once Ellie finds the ski lodge and just comes inside, very unstealthily on her part, she was pretty terrible at trying to get in there stealthily. And then this guy comes at her. I'm not sure how he was ready. He must have heard her coming. So Danny Ramirez, who plays Manny, seems to be kind of a loyal soldier type character. None of them want to kill Joel. Only Abby does. Abby's companions, Owen, Nora, Mel, and Manny. So Owen, I guess, is her boyfriend, more of a gentle person, and he does have physical strength, but he doesn't particularly want to fight enemies he does not hate. So I'm wondering if he does hate Joel, if any of them actually do hate Joel. But then you have Tati Gabriel, who plays Nora. I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now just for any quick descriptions of these 4 other characters that I haven't paid much attention to. Military medic who had difficulty accepting her past behavior, which is something maybe we'll see later on. Mel, the doctor committed to her role, struggling with the realities. As you can see, Mel was very hesitant to do anything. Then you have Manny, who's kind of like the loyal soldier who fears failing his friends, but he maintains a jovial attitude despite the pain of his past. So Nora and Manny have a past that will or will not get touched on later on. There's going to be a lot of flashbacks. Personally, the flashbacks kind of get on my nerves. Joel's dead now, so anytime you see Joel beyond here, it's going to be a flashback. So we're going to see that Joel did tell her about what really happened. That must have have happened. They still haven't straight up said out loud, Ellie knows what happened at the end of season 1. They had that discussion somewhere in the last 5 years. Because what else would be the other reason as to why she's so mad at him, other than the fact that he's just become generally annoying? But I did like that they touched on the little grow up that Eugene had. Eugene was the guy who's, I was forgetting the name of, Joey Pantaleone plays Eugene, who's Gail's husband, who is Joel's therapist. We did not see Gail or Eugene this episode, but we did see the 7-Eleven that he grew weed in the games. Definitely Dina and Ellie had found it. Jesse might have been there later on, but I distinctly remember a scene where Ellie and Dina smoke dirty old weed, and there was a lot of weed there, and even Ellie took some, but is she even going to do anything with that after what happened? Or maybe she's going to need more of it to smoke the pain away. Her and Dina are going to just start blazing all day long. They've already painted Dina as kind of a stoner. How long has Eugene been dead? We still don't know the whole story behind why Joel killed Eugene, and I think it's for a reason that is not good. Jesse himself said, as they were in that 7-Eleven with all the weed, just hanging out, he was saying that I guess Joel had no choice but to kill Eugene. Of course, they show Ellie's face, and she has this look on her face of, we don't even know yet what Eugene did. Maybe Eugene did something gross. Maybe he molested Ellie. They're making it look like Eugene got or infected, so they had to kill him, but I don't think that's the actual reason. Eugene was mentioned in the game. He was not seen in the game, but he was mentioned a few times, and they said that he had a stroke and he died. They added Gail and made Eugene be someone that gets killed by Joel. So that's a whole other new addition, but we still don't know why Joel killed him yet. I'm thinking that about half of the next rest of this season is going to be flashbacks of moments between Joel and Ellie. They're definitely going to do the astronaut NASA museum stuff. A big moment in the games between Joel and Ellie when she was still pretty young. I'd say this was probably not long after they first got back to Jackson. Joel found this secret astronaut museum somewhere that apparently, again, no one seemed to know about either. There's a bunch of moments that they show in the trailer that haven't happened yet. Joel showing Ellie how to play, or Ellie showing Joel her tattoo that we still haven't seen how she gets exactly. Because some of the flashback, you can see she's younger and she doesn't have the tattoo yet. And I still think that she gives it to herself, but we don't know yet. I wanted to circle back to Maria. I do not like her very much as a character. She was one of the weakest characters from last season, because it reminds me of Melanie Linsky's character from season 1, who I like her as an actress, but her character was annoying. There was no explanation as to how she seemed to command this military. Maria Retina Wesley feels kind of the same way. She's a co-leader of the survivors. There's never really been any straight up explanation as to why she's also someone that can kind of command. Like her and Tommy, essentially at this point in the show now, are kind of the co-leaders, quote unquote Supreme Court of Jackson, but she's also Tommy's wife, and she was an assistant district attorney, so she does have, legal histories. Her character is just so flat and boring. She's so boring. She doesn't say anything interesting or funny or unique. Her character is flat, and she just has no personality or charisma whatsoever. I'm still holding out for Isabela and Dina, but another thing they added that wasn't in the games, it was having dogs attack the clickers. They did have them show up in the scene where Jackson is being attacked, and all these dogs come out of a cage, and these dogs are kind of ferocious, as if they're just there to be trained to attack, and that's it. Annoyingly, they only had full CGI dogs, which I can't stand full CGI animals now. It's just the worst. I mean, I get why they do it. It's obviously way easier to control because animals are hard to control. No matter how good the effects are, I will always know that it's digital based on just simply how they move, and how even as good as animated they are, they still don't move realistically. And I don't know why they couldn't have just used some real dogs. It's not hard to train dogs to attack people. It's a thing they've been doing in TVs and movies for a million years. But now back to the end of the episode, the moment that I've been dreading ever since I knew that they were going to make a season 2. And I was actually kind of disappointed, if that sounds weird. I mean, it's not that I was hoping for Joel to get a really brutal death. I knew it was coming, and I thought it was a little bit of a letdown in a way of brutality. I mean, Abby's obviously furious. She's emotional, and I'm not going to deny that she deserves her revenge. Getting to the scene in the ski lodge, I remember in the game, it was nighttime, I believe, when it happened, and I don't know, that seemed to add to the brutality of it. Them having it in front of this window, it was a bright day out. I was just kind of surprised at how they staged it, and they made it not seem as brutal or even as heartbreaking. I kind of actually thought that they would drag it out more. Owen actually says to Abby, like, all right, end it. She was dragging it out, but I was kind of thinking that there was going to be more to it. She just took the broke off golf club and just stuck it in his neck. And I thought that was a weird way to do it. You could just take out a gun and shoot him in the head. Instead, you take off a broken metal golf club handle, which maybe it wasn't even all that sharp, and she just sticks it in his neck, like, boop, and that's it. I kind of thought maybe they'd drag out him actually dying. I mean, if Abby had any sense, she would just straight up kill Ellie, Dina right there, because why wouldn't you? She should know that Ellie's gonna come after her, and maybe she wants that. At the same time, it's one of those dumb movie moments of like, why is the bad person walking away when they could just shoot them right then and there and end it all? At the same time, is Abby the bad person? When you look at from her perspective, she deserves her revenge, and who really is bad? And that's the ultimate morality question of the entire series. What would you do for love? Would you kill for love? Who's wrong and who's right? If you're killing someone that killed your family member, is it wrong? Is what Joel did wrong because he killed all those people for Ellie? Powerful emotional questions that a lot of games don't ask you that, and it's why I feel the Last of Us games stood out a lot more. I mean, not saying this as I'm not a humongous, gigantic fan of the Last of Us games. I played both, and they're really good, but I'm not a gigantic fan who like replays every game once a year. Played one of the 20 remasters that came out. The games themselves were kind of a high watermark in video games in general for the quality of voice acting and the story and the graphics. The ultimate question of morality of like, what would you do for love? Would you kill? Which is why the games have had such an enduring effect on fans. And then the same question comes into the show as well. What would you do? Abby deserves her revenge. It sucks that Joel had to die, but in the end of the day, he did deserve it. Like, what can you say? He deserved it. He killed Abby's dad, so it's only right. But it happening, I thought, was a little bit of a letdown because I kind of thought it would get dragged out a bit more. I thought they were going to go full on Walking Dead where someone gets like their head bashed in and their eyes hanging out. So I was kind of surprised at the lack of brutality of Joel's death. Abby stuck the golf club in her neck and his neck, and then that was it. There was no him slowly dying. Kind of thought that once Ellie crawled over to him, maybe he would still be alive for a second, and they could be like looking each other in the eye as he dies. Kind of thought that was a bit of a missed moment to why they decided to have him die pretty much immediately. But I don't think someone would die immediately if they get stabbed in the neck. Like, they're going to bleed out, it's going to be awful, and they're going to be choking on blood. But essentially, yeah, they just had him die kind of too quickly. If that was so, I don't mean that in a gross, sick, sadistic way. I'm just, he's such a major character, and I'm sure a lot of people that didn't play the games are, they fucking killed Joel? Joel is dead. I love Joel. I love Pedro Pascal. Oh my god, Joel is dead. Are you serious? I should probably look up people's reactions just to see. It'd be funny. Joel has earned a bigger, more dramatic death scene. But this episode was still very exciting. The horde attack on Jackson is probably one of the best action sequences. Like, other than that big attack that happened in season 1, I think I might like this one better. Seeing Tommy go all out with flamethrower against that giant bloater. That was a bit of a weak scene, though. And Tommy has this showdown with the giant bloater because for whatever reason, there's only ever one. I don't know why they don't have more. Maybe they're trying to make it look like the bloater is the quote-unquote leader of each horde. They have a showdown. Tommy uses the flamethrower on him, and it looks like it's not working. The flamethrower runs out, and then the bloater's just about to land on him or take him out. And I was expecting the pretty cliche moment of Maria or somebody coming up behind and just blowing their head off. But instead, the bloater just dies. So that was a bit of an anticlimactic moment as well. The bloater just finally burns to death after making it seem like the fire barely affected it. And then boom, it just dies. I'm really not looking forward to seeing Tommy's reaction next episode when he sees that Joel is dead. I'm not going to rate each episode. I don't think I want to do that. I want to wait till the end of the season and give the entire season a rating. But this episode was stellar, and I think it's better than the first episode, and I would rank it up there as one of the best episodes in the entire series so far. We have 5 episodes left, and I wish it was more than 5. I wish it was 6. I wish it was 8. So this is my totally planned, not off the cuff review whatsoever that I didn't record immediately after watching this episode. That is definitely not what happened. This is a very well thought out, thorough, brilliant review that I sat down and I wrote and I spent hours writing on. If you're still watching up to this point, thanks for putting up with my annoying voice. But if you had watched this episode and you didn't know what was going to happen, I would love to hear your reaction in the comments. And if you did know what's going to happen, I would still love to hear your reaction reaction, because I actually was a little bit disappointed in how that happened. Joel is dead. From now on, anytime you see him, it's going to be a flashback. And yeah, we love Pedro, but let's be honest, he kind of deserved it. So that sucks. So that's that. Joel is no longer, and now we have 5 more episodes to go. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Please let me know what you think of my videos. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. But above all else, don't forget to keep gaming.